Hello and welcome. I'm happy you are here. Today we will talk about an interesting story, the history of Djibouti. Djibouti is a small country between Africa and the Middle East. Many people have come here to trade, travel, and even take control. For a long time, people have asked, was Djibouti really rented to France for 30 years, or is this just a story that people made up? Some people say that Ethiopia, which was a strong country nearby, let France use Djibouti for a short time. Maybe it was a smart plan, or maybe Ethiopia had no choice. Others say Djibouti was never part of Ethiopia. Instead, it was made up of small groups and leaders. These groups had to deal with big countries like France and others who wanted power. The real answer is not simple. There are old papers, stories, and changing borders. Was there a real deal, or did big countries just take what they wanted? Some experts think there were secret deals and confusing papers. Others say the story about renting Djibouti is not true and people just misunderstood what happened. During all this, the people of Djibouti had to live with many changes. Sometimes they fought back, sometimes they tried to live with the new rules, but they always tried to control their own future. Stay with us to the end. We will look at the real facts and stories and find out the true history of Djibouti, past the old stories and into what really happened. Many Ethiopians have heard the story that Djibouti was given to France for 30 years. Elders talk about this around fires and at family gatherings. They say, "We were told the land would come back to us, but it did not." This is called aphotarik. It means stories told by mouth from old people to young people. One elder says, "My father told me, and his father told him, that the French would leave after 30 years. We waited, but they did not go." In this story, France said it would give the land back after 30 years, but France did not do it. People tell this story with sadness. They remember it every time families meet. You will not find this story in history books, but people remember it well. It lives in the words of elders, in songs, and in quiet times when old people tell young people about the past. Most historians say there was never a real written agreement where Ethiopia gave Djibouti to France. In the late 1800s, many European countries wanted to control land in the Horn of Africa. France wanted to have a place on the Red Sea, so in the 1880s they made deals with local Afar and Issa Somali leaders. These deals let the French live and trade in the area, but they did not make these deals with the Ethiopian government. The local leaders agreed because they wanted to protect their land and keep a balance of power. Emperor Menelik II became leader in 1889. He did not give Djibouti to France. Menelik was busy making his rule stronger and keeping Ethiopia free from other countries. The only big agreement between Ethiopia and France happened in 1894. Menelik let the French build a railway from Djibouti to Addis Ababa for 99 years. This railway helped Ethiopia reach the sea and trade more, and it made the friendship between Ethiopia and France stronger. The railway changed the area. Djibouti became a very important port for Ethiopia's goods. France became more powerful in the region, but the land of Djibouti was not part of the deal. So the railway deal was about transport and business, not about giving Djibouti's land to France. The story is complicated, with local leaders and big countries all trying to get what they wanted. It was never just a simple rental or handover. The story about the 30 years is not just about facts. It is a memory that many people remember even after a long time. Even if there is no paper to prove it, many people believe the story is true. Families tell stories about being apart, being strong, and missing each other. These stories help people understand who they are and where they belong. For many, this story is about pride, who they are, and what they lost. In Djibouti, it reminds people to stand tall and remember their past. In Ethiopia, it is a story about family and the sadness of borders made by others. The story shows how people felt hurt by other countries. People talk about it in protests, in songs, and in quiet talks at home. Telling the story helps people heal, remember, and not forget. The story of the 30 years is still alive. It is not written on paper, but it lives in the memories of loss and in the hope that people can come together with pride and unity. Djibouti and Ethiopia were never one country, but their stories are closely linked. For hundreds of years, people from both places have shared languages, music, and traditions. They learned from each other and mixed their cultures. Long ago, strong Islamic kingdoms like Ifat were important here. The Ifat Sultanate was a place for trade and learning about Islam. It brought together people from what is now Djibouti and Ethiopia. The Adal Sultanate also made a big mark. Its leaders built mosques, made trade routes, and led famous battles. One leader, Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Ghazi, brought people from both places together to fight for the same cause. Back then, borders were not like today. The land was made up of many kingdoms and tribes, and the borders often changed. People, goods, and ideas moved easily. Traders carried salt, gold, and incense. Storytellers and teachers shared new ideas from one place to another. Sometimes both places were part of the same empire. Leaders worked together or made alliances to solve problems. There were also many small kingdoms, each with its own leaders and customs, but they often helped each other, married between groups, and traded goods and ideas. So Djibouti and Ethiopia have been connected for a very long time, by shared kingdoms, busy trade, and many years of sharing culture. These connections are still seen today. Now we are at the end of our story about Djibouti's history. We learned that history is made from real facts and also from the stories people tell each other. The story about France renting Djibouti for 30 years is not in the official books, but many people in Djibouti still talk about it. History is not just about papers and dates. It is also about people's feelings, dreams, and the hard times they went through. The way people in Djibouti remember their past shows us that memories are important, even if they are not written down. When we listen to stories like this, we learn to look deeper. We should listen to people who lived through history and respect their memories. In the end, history is not only about what really happened, but also about how people remember and share those stories. If you liked learning about this part of Djibouti's past, please like, subscribe, and tell us what you think in the comments. Come back for more interesting stories from around the world. There is always more history to find. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.